So, like she was saying, we're like 2 kernels of pepper in a salt field. So, you continue on.
So, what I realized, like I said last week, being in Baltimore, people and being around people of all races, ethnicities, gender preferences, ages, it was like we are humans at the end of the day, that we love on one another, and like God's peace is within us to see somebody else and help them out. And so when those 2 women pulled over to help us out, and it was like we got back on the bike and fixed it, and it was just such a feel-good moment, you know? Like, it's not all this divisiveness out here. It's not white against black, you know, and it's not everybody. You know, there are some decent people that are out here. There are decent people who like to help and support, and it's the inner core of who they are. So like, we black folk, and the inner core of who we are is to be helpful. I'm speaking for us both. So like, that's our inner core. You know, you don't stray away from it. And then when those 2 meld together, and I am the mindset, what you put out in the atmosphere is what you get back. So that piece of the bike experience was amazing to me. So yeah, it was about a bike, but it was more than being about the bike. It was helping shape how we see and view and experience life, whether we go with our blinders and our focus on. It was more about taking in, addressing, and facing your inadequacies, and relying and being okay and owning that I needed some help in this. We would not have made it around that island on that single bike by myself. It wouldn't have happened.
I'd have pushed it, but it took a little longer, you know. But I'm glad we did it together.
Yeah.
Because at the end of that trip, I was cramping up as well. Wasn't hydrated like I should have been. You know, jumped on that bike all gung-ho. You know, my girl right here, she kicked it up, you know, pulled up that rear. It was good, though. It was good, though, at the end of the day.
And so then the other part to the bike part is, so that's 2 things I don't say. So the third part to shout you out is, when we could have turned in the bike early. He was like, nah, we ain't turn this bike in early. We got some more minutes on with this bike. So we gonna, you know, we still hadn't done our tour of the Grand Hotel yet. Right. So he's like, let's get out this last little ride. When we get off the bike, I saw a spot that we had stopped at earlier when we walked. And I was like, ooh, I want to get this picture. And it's really, I don't know if I changed it to my cover page, but it's the orange door. He's flanking one side, I'm flanking the other side. And it's viewed through this little gazebo thing. It was just like amazingly beautiful, right? So I got off and I was like, ooh, stop right here, stop right here, stop right here. So we got off the bike and I had the sea legs like, oh my God, looking drunk, you know, legs just gobbledygook, you know, rubber bands.
Wobbly.
Right. And so get off the bike, he's standing back, he eating his little snacks, whatever. And so I'm taking the pictures and all that. And then we get back on the bike. We was like, well, we were literally like
right around the corner
from the bike rental place to take it back. We could have walked it back or whatever, but we're like, nope, we're going to get back on this bike. So sometimes you can get off, get distracted with your destination and where you're going, but then you can get right back on that bike and finish what you started. So we got on the bike. And then so D was like, Silk was like, where you want to go? I was like, go left. And so left was a hill.
Shocking.
I said, go left. He was like, left? And he was like, up the hill?
Because it was a hill. And we were so exhausted.
But that little kick in. And so coming from me saying, hey, let's go up this hill.
She energized me.
And it was like, oh my God. And so we took the hill and we doing it together because he planted that seed and that spirit of we're in this together. And so we hung that left and was getting it up that hill. And as we were getting it up the hill, because we hadn't eaten.
We were hungry.
And what do you know? So he has Jamaican roots.
The spirit of the Father came and brought me forth and said, I want you to come here and indulge in my delicacies.
So we went right past this Kingston cuisine
from Jamaica.
Right. And so we went in. So we saw this sign. I was like, stop here. We can eat right here. I saw fried chicken. Right. I saw plantains. I saw plantains and something else. And I was like, Jamaican food. I was like, we gotta stop here. jumped off that bike and parked that bike. And I kept saying, I'm going to get me a steak dinner. I've been wanting a steak. All the weekend, I'm like, I want a steak, a potato, some salad, and blah, blah, blah.
But we ate a little healthier.
We did.
We had some fish.
We did.
Right.
And so we ended up going to Kingston Cuisine. And it was a Jamaican restaurant. And then we saw this beautiful person named Candace. She was our waitress.
Yeah, man.
And Candace was extremely nice. So we took turns going to the bathroom to wash our hands. So Silk went in the bathroom, washed his hands first, and then he was coming back. So when he was coming back, I got up and I went to go wash my hands. So he was sitting there by himself when I came back. So as I came back and sat down next to him, Candace came forth. And so she was like, oh.
She was so shocked for her to be there.
Right.
Because initially when I came in, Candace was checking me out. So when Jay came back, she said, hey, oh Lord, you are so beautiful. And you know, we had an amazing evening.
It was nice. And it was nice. And that compliment to me, like, and of course I had the little head wrap gala going on. I got my Black Lives Matter shirt on. And I did have on my little makeup with my little African but and I said, when she said beautiful, I knew it wasn't just about my face. It was probably the essence of my blackness. That's how I interpret it.
The aura.
Yeah, not necessarily just me like, oh, she cute. No, I felt like she was looking at my blackness because, you know, anytime when black folks see other black folk, well, I'm going to speak for me. Anytime I see black people in another place, I'm so happy to see them, especially when it's not so many of us.
Right.
I go out my way to say hello and hi. Like, hey, how you doing, sis? Da, da, da. You know, and so that was just like kindred spirits. And then this guy here gets into the Jamaican accent. I can't even, you die.
So because of the experience that we had, we indulged in some drink. Oh Lord, I went Tony Montana right now. Well, you know, we had some drinks. You know, we had some nice food.
Oh my God.
Broke bread.
Woo!
Spent a lot of time. It was on fire, wasn't it? The
that
chicken and that kingfish.
Jamaican fried chicken and that kingfish, that whitefish.
That whitefish.
Whitefish sandwich. It was absolutely off the chain. Absolutely off the chain. And so we had, she set us up. So Candace was like, you want to, I asked her what drink did she recommend. And she was like, ooh, you might like that. You say how she said.
She said you might like the Jamaican rum.
No, before that, because we got set off. We were going to get that first drink.
The pineapple
parade. Right. So I was like, so what's the pineapple parade? So she's like, it's a pineapple, comes in a pine. Well, first she started talking about what was in it. Right. And then she said, and it comes in a pineapple. And I was like, yeah, give me one of those. Give me one of those. And I was like, wait a minute, that sounds expensive. How much is that? And then she said it was $20. And I was like, okay. I was like, it's worth the experience. Let's do this pineapple parade. And then he ordered one. And then she come back and said she was sorry they didn't have no more pineapple, so we couldn't get it.
So we had that Jamaican rum with the fruit and the cherries in them. And it was potent.
Very.
What I mean by potent is we stayed a little longer than we possibly should have. But we had to come down.
Right. Right. And then, so we left from there. And so now I'm feeling great because I'm lit.
Like Tony the Tiger.
Right? And so we still hadn't done our grand hotel tour that we had paid for earlier. And so we made it and we did the walk. And so we saw all these little different things. So that's where you see me on the turtle. I don't even know if I posted those up yet. Not yet. Okay, so it's some other pictures that I need to post, but we were able to take in a view and go in there and walk through the hotel and see what stuff was like, and it was magical. It was nice. Any comments about that after the after dinner, and then our little detour, or any metaphorically thing that you can speak on it?
The dinner was so amazing that I really don't quite remember anything after that.
Okay.
I'm messing with you. So, after dinner, we ventured off And what was this? It was like a castle, but it was a resort. What was the hotel called?
Grand Hotel.
Yeah, so the Grand Hotel, which was basically uphill from where we were located.
Uphill.
So
Uphill.
we still had to climb, and we thought about it, and we reflected upon the fact that initially we wanted to ride the bikes up there, but I'm glad we chose to do otherwise, because we wouldn't have made it, you know. And we probably were still on the island in the hospital or something,
Okay.
you know, with IVs in us, because we were dehydrated, you know. And I'm not quite sure if you've ever been to Tennessee or Atlanta, Georgia, or somewhere with a lot of hills. It was a challenge. But this place was beautiful as well. You know, on the grounds, they had a large golf course as well. You know, I'm not a golfer, you know, but the scenery of the golf course was amazing. You know, so I took a couple of pictures. You know, I was gonna upload them and send them to a couple of people. You know, and let them know I still have a desire to go out and, you know, shoot a couple of greens here and there. You know, it's a meditative game, as I've been told. You know, it doesn't take a lot of physicality, but it does. But man, just being in that place, being in that spot, being in that atmosphere, it was different.
But what I said about kids, our kids being
Our
black
kids?
folk. Like when I said, could you imagine if we grew up knowing about a place like?
We got kids.
I know not us have kids.
Oh, okay.
Your son with you and my kids with me, like individually in our separate families.
I just want everybody else to be, you know, straight about what's happening.
Not our, right. Not our kids. No.
All right, okay.
But I made the comment that wouldn't it have been amazing?
It would have.
If we knew about this place being with young kids,
Right.
and to have brought them to this type of place for our kids to experience it, because we saw plenty of other folk with their children.
Yes, we did.
On bikes, skateboards, and I'm talking about white, Hispanic, Indian.
Didn't matter what culture,
Right.
background.
Right. And so, but not a lot of black people and kids per se.
No, we were the minority.
Yeah, clearly we were the minority.
And numbers alone.
And we didn't feel, and I didn't feel no type of way. I didn't have any bad experiences.
Right.
I didn't feel no type of like somebody was slighting or throwing shade or any. I didn't feel like that at any time. I felt that the people were accommodating. The captain, he was cool on the boat, and he, you know,
Captain Steuben was photobombing us every time we took a picture.
Tom is his name, Captain Tom. Yes,
I
you know
tried to
he's stupid. Love boat.
Tom. Whatever.
Right. But it was a good trip, and so like that's just we talked a lot about a bike. I should name this little series right here The Bike, and all the metaphorical things that go along with
Road trip.
That double bike trip up, you know, around the island. So another thing, and we talked about the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that I wanted to speak to is how just even taking this excursion. So like I went to Maryland by myself. I went to Miami in January by myself. I'm going to Ohio by myself. I did go to what?
Rolling.
And I went to North Carolina with my daughter. But to go back to the point in the very first video before this one is that yes, we can do things by ourselves, but I said I appreciate him saying that he even wanted to go. You know, he got a job. You know, he got stuff to do, and everybody can't.
I thought you was talking about because of COVID and I got a job. You know that I could share on expenses because brothers, man, it's kind of hard right now.
Right. I wasn't even thinking like that.
Everybody ain't working. So brother, if you have a job and you got some benefits, you up and up, bro.
So I asked him to go because I didn't want to do this by myself, and I was like, this would be a great opportunity for us to get some more material, get some content, and navigate through this thing, and I'm trying to explain to him, you know, how social media works, and being an influencer, trying to get to my goal is get to influencer status. Like, we got something to say, and if folk, yeah, right, and a brand. And so, like, and if it means more folk experience some of the things, like, you know what, that's a cool place. You know, I should take my grandkid. I should take my niece and nephew, like, experience it, because it was just really something else. And every time I go to a place, I'm always like, I wish I would have brought my kids. I didn't have that experience this time. But I do hope that they're able to navigate and learn spaces and places like that are not necessarily within grasp. This was only a 6 to 7 hour ride outside of Chicago.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner. And when you got good conversation, good vibes, and this brother up in here on this ride back, I don't got some spiritual awakening when Sunday come.
And
Sunday.
We've been filling one another up. But I ran across a song by Derek Coley.
Short version it is.
When Sunday Comes. I won't sing it. I don't know the words. And if I did, maybe I would. But it's a profound song, and it touches upon many things. Not really religious. I'm more spiritual than anything. But it's a very strengthening and touching song. You know, it talks about the story of the resurrection, so forth and so on. But just to hear it, you know, it's amazing. You know, the words and how this individual expresses themselves. And you all probably know it. Like I said, Derek Coley, When Sunday Comes. Go look it up.
Okay. So we listened to some gospel, and this guy right here on the trip down had me cracking up, talking about he was in the choir. No, you was in the choir, and he auditioned to be in the choir. What was the first audition song that you sang to join the choir?
So, church folk, I look at church as a hospital for healing, you know. And the majority of people that's in church, in my opinion, are sick. And what do they call those people who sick? They call them heathens. So there was a period in time I wouldn't call myself a heathen, but I've always, you know, have been drawn to the arts. Music has always been there for me. So I'm musically inclined, and I also sing. However, there was a time I wanted to try out for the audition. Now, I really didn't have any gospel songs, so I auditioned with a Lionel Richie song.
Hit it with a few bars. So you went to this church to audition to be in the choir.
Mm-hmm.
Hit them with what you sang to join the church.
Can't do that.
Come on. I want to thank God.
I sung it all by saying, I want to thank you, God, for giving me one more chance to praise the Lord and to sing again, to sing it out loud, to sing it all day.
And what did the lady tell you?
She asked me, could I sing another song? And the premise behind that was she wanted me to sing a gospel song. Now, this one over here laughing, but I told her at the time, I didn't know any gospel songs. So, you know, black folk, we grew up hearing these songs, and we might, you know, claim them as gospel. And what y'all think I went to? I went to the OJs, you know. So when you asked me to sing this other song, I was like, here we go, climbing the highways to heaven.
I was dying.
Take it easier. I'm climbing the stairways to heaven.
And it was hilarious because she asked him, do you know anything gospel?
Yeah.
So he like,
OJ.
And this was the song that he came up with. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So this trip, getting to learn one another more as we co-host, you know, this little introvert extrovert podcast thingy that we're striving for. It's hilarious. He is a card, and so I am learning more and more about him.
It has been an adventure,
right? And seeing the goofy sad because this dude is serious.
Yeah, always.
This dude is serious, but we have been able to crack up laughing on some stuff. So I just have to say this was an amazing thing.
Yes,
I don't necessarily think we'll be on location very much.
Not at all.
You know, but definitely didn't want to leave this weekend without sharing what this experience was. And so
miss out on this opportunity.
Right. And we've begun to document like the messages. And so there'll be some more stories behind it. So we just talked about the bike. We talked about, you know, him being on the ship. But basically overcoming some of our own issues as we endeavor forward. And then that spirit of humanity just keeps coming up every place I go to. Even though people will try to make us think that we are not more of the same, we have to refute that because that's not who we are. So, any parting words on this, Silk?
I mean, you said it all. You touched upon many things, you know. But like at the end of the day, as you stated, you know, we must understand the differences and, you know, the unique qualities that we all share, and come to terms that we all have more similarities than differences, you know. And in the midst of what's going on in the world, you know, I think that all that needs to be had is a conversation, you know, and an understanding that we could do this together. We don't have to do it apart.
Right. Continue to build. So, closing this out, but we were thinking about how we need to speak on something like we need to activate. We need to get active. Right now is like the perfect time for us to keep spreading this message about we are more alike than we are dissimilar. And what does that look like on an advocacy side? What does that look like in using our brand and using our space and our place to help get the messaging out? Because like this is important.
Yes, it is.
It's important. So I want to thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it. I hope that y'all enjoyed. But go back, the bike, the metaphor. He gave you a resource for when Sunday comes. Mm-hmm. What's his name?
Daryl Coley.
Daryl Coley. Look up that song. And we will continue to just give you feedback as we think about it. And we post live again. Post live. We're just having so much trouble with Facebook and this whole muting of our videos at certain points. Like, we ain't even said nothing. Like, what is it? And why is the sound going out? And then to go on Instagram and the same thing is happening. So we appreciate your patience. And that's why we are trying to be more dutiful in actually keeping the content current. So we had a schedule, but not being able to post our recordings like we want to has been a little bit of a hindrance.
Throw it off.
Right, and kind of threw us off. So we just want to make sure that we keep it up and we increase our follower base, and that we just say something that might impart a spirit of okay, that's good, okay, that's a good point, because we want to encourage and motivate and talk about how relationships, whether they're friend relationships or intimate relationships or parental, like all that matters, right? And what did
all across the board.
All across the board. And you said we talked about delivery. We talked about delivery and how you say and do things matters just as much as everything else, right? Why are you looking like that? I flipped the script. Okay, we're going to say back because I'm on to another topic and I don't caught them up and caught them off guard. Okay, we love y'all. We're going to see y'all later, okay?
Okay, and this is?
I'm about to say your name. This is Jay.
And this is Silk with the Q. And remember, we're climbing step by step. We're climbing step by step. Oh.
All right, we'll see y'all later. Bye.